Before we get started, I'd like to tell you a story. When I was in high school, I loved the game of basketball, and every summer I would go to a basketball camp at a major university. I remember the first camp that I ever went to. This was a young coach who had just hit the big leagues in basketball. And here we were, a couple of hundred young high school guys with dreams of stardom in our eyes, just wanting him to hand us a ball so that we could show him what we could do, so that he would love us and want to recruit us to be on his team, so that we could have all kinds of fame and fortune and NBA futures and have the dream of our life. But he did something unusual. Instead of handing us a ball that day, he started off by asking us to take a seat in the stadium. Then he rolled out a chalkboard and some game films and told us that he was going to teach us the game of basketball. He told us that he was going to teach us the 3 P's of basketball: the philosophy, the physics, and the psychology. He told us that the single most important skill that we could get in his camp or in the whole game of ball was how you think. Not how you dribble, not how you shoot, not how you rebound, not how you defend, but how you think about the game. Because how you think controls your actions, and then as you think about it long enough, it actually becomes instinctive. And once that instinct clicks in, you no longer need to consciously think about many elements of the game. There's a piece of you inside that just knows what to do. And so for the next 4 hours, he stood in front of us, and not one of us touched a ball. Most of the guys fell asleep. In fact, some mothers actually wrote letters to him and to the program asking for a refund because he'd wasted their son's time. I listened. He taught us how to read a court. He taught us how a coach thinks and how a coach looks at the court, so that we would not need to have the coach call timeout to teach us and show us where the weaknesses and strengths were of the other side and where we needed to shift our defense and where we needed to take our offense, because we learned how to read that from the court itself. He taught us how to defend, how to read a person's weakness and force him to his weak side, so that we would have that split tenth of a second when he was transferring the ball from his strong side to his weak side, when it still was incredibly easy. He taught us how to read a picture like this, which tells us there are at least 10 things that as a result of his teaching, I can look at this picture and I can look at the defensive stance of that player, and I can tell you at least 10 things that he is doing wrong at that very second. He taught us how to read a shot, how to know where the actual physics of the game would take place, and so that ball would be coming off the backboard and the rim, so that you would get yourself to that place where the ball was coming off to significantly increase your probability of getting that rebound. And then finally, 4 hours later, he let us go to lunch, and then after lunch, he finally handed us a ball. Now, I enjoyed his camp. And over the years, I went to a number of different basketball camps, some with coaches who had had far more experience than this particular coach. And invariably, the first day, we walked in, and there was a stack of balls. And they would say, "Here, go shoot, and go play." And they let us go out and strut our stuff and try to look good. But over the years, I've thought back to that coach, and I watched his progress, and I realized something. That first coach, the one who spent 4 hours teaching us the 3 Ps of basketball, the one who refused to let us play, he taught us how to think instead, consistently went to the NCAA tournament. And even though some of the other coaches also went to the tournament, they were usually eliminated in the first or second round. But this coach's teams, even though they were no more talented than the other coaches, his teams consistently went to the Sweet 16, the 8, the Final Four, and even the championship games. And to this day, even though I never was a great basketball player in high school, I never even played in college, to this day, basketball to me is a totally different sport. When I walk onto a court, I'm playing a thinking man's game of basketball. When a shot goes up, I instinctively read where it's going to come off the rim, and I move myself to there before anyone else is there. When someone is getting ready to shoot, by the way, that's me in the white. No, it's actually not. But when someone gets ready to shoot, I instinctively understand where that shot's going to be so that I have the moment where it's easiest to block them. And again, I'm not a very good basketball player, but my limited skills are significantly improved by the fact that I know how to think about this game.